specific to talk about. I just kind of want to see who's here, see who wants to talk about what. Yeah, we are at such a point right now where we have so many highs and so many lows. It transitions so quickly from one day to the next, 1 minute to the next. And the only way we're going to get through this is if we talk this out, right? I think we all know this by now. And it's funny because, it shows me one person is waiting when I jump in, then it shows me two, and then it jumps right back down to zero. Um, really, is it because nobody wants to say anything? You don't want to listen to what I have to say, or is it, fudging the numbers again? We're counting everything as a COVID death. Is that what this is? So, like I said, I really don't have anything specific to say. But we have to understand that as people, as society, as a community, as an individual, if you don't say anything, then you're just as guilty. You shall expect no mercy if you're not going to say anything. It's one thing if you can't do anything about it, if you don't have the means or the physical capability, but it's another thing to keep your mouth shut, not look into this stuff, not research this shit, not pay it. It's not an excuse. A very hard time with doing what doing what I'm doing. One, because you put yourself out there, not only who you are, but you put yourself out there to the point to where you risk your life, you risk those around you that you love, and to an extent, you put your community at a risk too, where you live, because now you create, I don't want to say division, but you do create a division. You create confusion. You create an excitement. Some may use incitement for terminology, but we know how we like to throw jargon around, okay? If we just get rid of one little vertical line in that letter N, we change white lines matter to white lives matter, okay? It's a symbol. People want to get worked up about symbols, but those symbols have come to represent ideologies, feelings, beliefs. And some people have come to use those ideologies, symbols, beliefs against others, against their own manipulation, control, government. Just like we see with the blacked out vehicle and the big blue line and the flag on the side of our police vehicle, and the tactics, the psychological tactics to create intimidation, create fear, create stress, raise someone's heart rate, make them jittery and fluttery so they can't pass a stupid fucking sobriety test. Oh, and here's another thing. And you can go fuck yourself, police department, with your tactics. So when they're doing the whole follow my fingers thing, what they're looking for is you crossing your eyes. Yeah, just so you know. The Smith-Mundt Act, get it the fuck out of here. You made it legal for media and police and all sorts of entities to lie to the public, to push propaganda, to push fear for agendas. Go fuck yourself. if we want to talk about the children, then we're going to need some more people here. We're going to meet some more people online. We're going to need more people at the park so we can really talk about what's going on with the attack against our children. And I would think, what have I had my sign out, my Stand By Me sign out for 3 days now? And yes, I've gotten more subscribers. I don't care about the whole subscription thing. We people that are trying to help, people that are actually out there speaking out, trying to talk with people, trying to do things, trying to do stuff here on YouTube, tell it like it is. Every one of us should have a fucking million subscribers. Every one of us. Because we're all out here trying to show you what's really going on. And I don't see too many of them claiming they're better than other people, or claiming they're better than you that's listening. And I think a lot of them too, that I've seen, the real ones, the true ones, admit that they're still learning. They still have things to know, that they're not perfect. But here's the thing: if you're really into this, if you're really into bringing the truth and trying to make a difference and bring about a better world, okay, not the bullshit, not this great reset, not this stupid digital currency and thin blue line and Black Lives Matter and White Lives Matter and let's forget about all the other fucking colors and races. Light and dark. That's why they're doing the Black and the White Lives Matter shit. Okay, light and dark, good and evil, listen or don't, comply and die, all that shit. However you want to look at it, okay? Yes, sometimes you think, oh fuck, crazy shit could happen. Yeah, because you start looking at all the different aspects of things that could happen. Not that will happen, that could happen. So you try to prepare for all those things. You try to think for all these things, okay? There's tons of scenarios that can happen. And depending on what it is you're focusing on, thinking about all the different scenarios, well, if that's crazy, then all the different scenarios that can happen are even fucking crazier. So the more crazy the scenario, the more crazy the options and the things you have to look at and decide what could happen and prepare for. And that's why you see this attack on people, preppers. So why you see the attack on people like me that try to get out there, actually out in the public, that don't monetize, that don't say, hey, hit the fucking bell notification, share, like, and subscribe, and here's a few fucking more commercials. If you see commercials on my shit, it's not me, it's YouTube. I don't want any commercials. There should not be any commercials. You should go straight to video and be able to watch the whole entire video all the way through, no matter how stupid it is. I could have been really mean to those police officers today. I could have harassed them to the point to where they actually came over and interacted with me. That's not the point. Okay? The point is, your job is fucked up. And things need to change. They don't need to be defunded. They need to be re-educated and rethought and reacclimated. Okay? So we do have to push the envelope, as Jimmy's Chicken Shack would say. If you don't know them and you like a little harder music, Jimmy's Chicken Shack, good shit. But you also have to know when to back off, how to say it in different ways, how to make people think, how to maybe confuse people. Okay. And I'll tell you what, here's the thing the other day when a lady brought me coffee. And I wasn't expecting it. Completely unexpected. I never even thought about anybody bringing me coffee, hot chocolate, any of that. And here it comes. Sometimes when you are at your lowest, or you think things are the shittiest, or no one cares, or nothing's going to get better, any of that stuff, okay? Sometimes, not every time, and not for everybody, but sometimes things happen where you you see that light, you see that change, you grab onto that inspiration and the will and the fight to keep moving on and survive. I've seen that with people lately, okay, more so in the last few days. But that has also required me going out and initiating that, being part of that. Okay? That vet on the corner, I could have easily drove by him. I went around, literally, out of my way, around, and came back to talk to him. It wasn't for very long. But I didn't see him any different than me. The people that have come and talked to me at the park, no different than me. The lady that stopped on the sidewalk, no different than me. Even the Karens that come and want to bitch that I'm too close to the school. Or even the young man that wants to hang his head out the window for 2-3 days and yell at me and call me a bitch and tell me to fuck off. And his little girlfriend, maybe his sister, I don't know, want to say go get a job. How old are you? Are you 15? 14? Did you just start puberty? Do you have any peach fuzzies? Do you know anything about life? How old of a soul actually are you to understand what's going on? Are you being manipulated at home? Are you being manipulated through the TV, the movies, the music, the video games, the Snapchats, where you can all show each other, your little private parts and stick out your tongues? That's one of the most disgusting things that I see right now, are all these fucking women sticking out their tongues in all their photos. You look like little whores. You look like you should be treated like little whores when you do that. You get no respect when you take a photo with your tongue sticking out like you want to suck a big fat fucking cock. It's disgusting. Stop it. Quit teaching your little girls to do it and posting it on fucking Facebook. You got your 4-year-old little daughters sticking their tongue out like they're little whores. You got your 4 little daughters messing around on little phones while you're on your fucking phone and you can't even stop at a stop sign properly. Get your fucking heads out of your phone, look up and pay attention. And if you got your heads in your phone, hopefully you're doing some research to make yourself a little bit smarter each fucking day. But I doubt many of you are. Because if you were, we wouldn't be in this fucking situation right now. It wouldn't feel like it's getting worse. And I think with the way I felt lately with, seeing that light more with people and whatnot, I don't think it's necessary that I see things are getting better, because I don't see things getting better. Not right now. There's not enough people. If I can stand out at my city park for a week and a half and have maybe 3-4 people come stand by me, no. That's not community. That's not hope. But I think what I have found is I have found certain people that think the same way I do and have the same feelings I do, that are willing to go to those extremes to where you will protect each other and protect everything you know and own to the bitter end, no matter if you win or lose. But everybody across the world, your governments have fucked you over. They have lied to you for years and years and years. They have used you. And right now what they're doing is they're squeezing everything off into their control. And when the switch gets rotated and the new system is like completely in effect, you're fucked. We're all fucked. And we still have time to get together and say, no, enough is enough. This is how this is going to work. But here's the deal. You better realize, if you want things to get better, no more money. No more money whatsoever. Not digital, not cash, not coin, not gold, not silver, not platinum. None of that. There is no more money. If you continue with this money, things will not get better. Things will continue to get worse. And yes, nukes will fucking fly. What's up, John? Nukes will fucking fly. If you people continue to deal with this whole monetary system of any fucking sorts, I don't care. Digital, cash, metal, we cannot keep it. We have come too far as a civilization in surviving as a species. Our technology has become too great that money doesn't matter anymore. Okay? What matters is actually doing things. We do things because we can do them, not because we get paid to do them, because we can do them. They're the right things to do, and they need to be fucking done. But that's not the way it works. Why? Because of money. When you still have teachers getting fired, and you still have gun zones being implemented because of commerce, because of children and education, and interstate and intrastate, commerce, commercial, commie. It only ends when we come out to the parks and we start talking and getting through all this shit. And realize that how many of us have been fucked and how many of us are living on a fucking thread. You couldn't tell that, okay, here's what we had. We had a lot of people got into Netflix, did they not? When the pandemic started. And what were the two main things? We had Jism all over me Mel, and then we had the Tiger Queen, or Tiger King, excuse me. I forget what he is. I don't know. Right? Well, it was, oh, the Tiger Queen. Yes. Yes, yes. You know, and okay, here's that you brought up a big thing with me that I'm dealing with right now. Because I've tried to tell family, of course, and it always comes down to you're nuts. It's not that way. You need to go get medication. You need to go get checked out. You're depressed. No, I'm not fucking depressed. You're depressing me. Okay, because you're not paying attention. You're not seeing this shit. So, you know, then you get pushed away. So, oh, come over. You haven't seen us in a while. Okay, I'll come over. Well, there's no discussion. You need this and done that. Okay. Well, you're not ready for me to do it. You want me to get it ready for you? Okay. That's fine. But here's the thing, and I feel bad about it, but I don't either. You know, when you push people away, why would you expect them to go out of their way to help you out and offer in that? Not like I'm not going to say, hey, no, I'm not going to do it. Maybe one day, maybe I'll have enough and be like, no, that's it, I'm done. Go ask somebody else, ask my brother, whatever. I know I owe you, thank you for everything, but I am trying to pay it back so much more than you've ever given me that, please, shut the fuck up and listen. But you're not listening. And so I have a really hard time with playing the niceties, I guess, to an extent, even with my own family, my own loved ones. You know, yeah. Here's the thing. When you see me at the park, okay, and I'm standing there by myself doing my thing, that's been my life. That's my life. Um, I've had friends here and there, but I've always pretty much stood alone. And it's not that I've tried to push people away. Maybe I have, and I don't realize it. I don't know. But at the same time, too, it's like, okay, maybe I'm completely different from other people as far as what I think and how I see things. Or how I speak up about certain things. You know, sometimes, yeah, I'll back down, I'll chicken down, and I'll not say stuff. And other times, I'm like, you should have shut the fuck up. You went too far. That situation, and it has nothing to do with being trying to be dominant or anything over whoever's there. It's just sometimes it's just the way you are. There's moods and how you feel and situations. So you've always got to be constantly analyzing yourself, the world around you, all the time. I mean, and that's where we get into trouble because we have so much information coming at us all the time that we don't necessarily have time to analyze everything that's going on around us. And so you're constantly bombarded, you're constantly running around, you never really rest, you're so tired that your conscience gets destroyed and your subliminal gets bombarded with not positive things. And I think that's a lot of the reason we got here the way we are. It's all intentional. Um, and as far as the reasoning behind that, I think we have to look greater. And I think greater has to look into not on this planet, what's going on in the solar system, that they know, that they've timed out. And it's not the first time that this has happened. And that's the thing. When you start looking into history and you start expanding into different religions and cultures and time frames, a lot of them are very similar as far as to how they want to end. Yeah, yeah, and that's tough, man. It's very tough because, this is the second time I've basically, some people might say giving up my family. Some people might say having my family taken away from me, for my decisions that I've made to speak out, to try to share what I've learned and what I see, and what I know. Uh, I know there's a lot of things I don't know, a lot of things I want to know, a lot of things I want to do, a lot of things I never will get to do because I don't have the money, right? And a lot of things that I have learned um, are due because of my family, and my loved ones, because of what they have done to make that money. It has allowed me to learn these things and be able to try to so-called pay it forward. And then you have all these other people. You're trying to do these good deeds, but you have all these other people against you. And it's not just you in particular, it's everybody like you. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm just being isolated out. There's a lot of people going through the same shit, that are trying to speak out and have been through the same sort of situation that I've been in. And, it would have been very easy for me, to commit suicide, just like all these other people have. And like all the vets that we see commit suicide every day. It would have been very easy for me to do that. But what's the point? I could have committed suicide many years ago, feeling bad. And I didn't because a higher power came into my life and said, listen, if that's how you feel, you die now. If not, live, stay strong. And I chose to live and stay strong. So here I am. And yeah, there's definitely times where we feel like we are alone. Maybe we are crazy. Maybe, but you gotta look at it too, man. When you start getting into this more and you start talking with people more and more, I am a firm believer that a lot of people do see this. People are not stupid. A lot of people see it. I think a lot of people are afraid to speak out. A lot of people are afraid to stand up. Um, and there's a lot of people that may not know, but it doesn't mean they're not smart enough to learn. Okay, but it's a fear thing. Fear is a powerful tool. That dark is a very powerful tool, and that's what we see. That's all I've seen growing up. My whole entire life, that's all I see on the news. Bad, 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 bad. Every now and then you see good stuff, but it's all bad. It's all bad news. It's all dark shit. It's all, oh, this is bad. This is bad. And then, oh, now all of a sudden, we're supposed to unite as a world and do this and that. And then we're supposed to unite and support Ukraine, but yet we're supposed to divide Russia. Why I thought we were all in this together. I thought we were all supposed to unite. We'll all get through this. But now we're supposed to separate and fight and drop fucking nuke bombs and decide who's guilty for freezing out a bunch of fucking people in Europe. What? I mean, I've seen some of the pictures and videos coming out now of Russia and how the Russian soldiers have been treated. Well, that was pretty fucking obvious if you didn't know before the war started, when you saw the Russian soldiers walking through the fucking snow, one after another, like going to a death camp. Yeah, how fucking dumb. And how fucking dumb to continuously say that, oh, it's Putin's war, it's Putin's war, it's Putin's gas hikes. Oh, well, now that gas goes down, Biden, I did that. I brought the gas down. And now here we go, gas going back up. You people didn't see that. With the last job I had, a young man, he's, I don't know, I mean, young enough, he's like in his late 20s, very smart, got himself set up pretty nice with his land and property, and you know, we got in, well, I got into talking about it, and he listened. He was very good about it. And you know, it's like, dude, gas prices are going back up. He's like, no, the gas is going down right now. I was like, dude, no, gas prices are gonna go back up, man. This is all just a fucking ploy right now. Gas prices are going up. And what do we see now? Slowly going back up. And you know, supposedly we're at the lowest oil reserve ever in our history, and we're donating all this money to Ukraine. We're not even donating, just giving it away. You have to look at all sides of the shit to really understand how fucking convoluted and how fucked up it all is, and how much people, whether they like it or not, yeah, we have certain constitutional rights, and those shall be upheld and not infringed. Just like today, I didn't post a video today, so I wound up talking with these guys hanging cable. I talked with them for quite a while. Code enforcement comes, starts harassing about the vehicles. One was the other worker's vehicle, and one was my vehicle. I got out of the way so they could run cable along the power lines. No, code enforcement. Right away, got to get on it. Is this your vehicle? Well, you know this is city property. Yeah, I fucking know. Yeah, I moved it so they could do their job. Oh, I could use a lot of that money they're sending to fucking Ukraine. How many millions and billions of dollars now? What is it? It's like 40-some, 50-some billion dollars. You know, and U.S. population is like 330, but you got to figure, what do we have? What's the average family household? 4. So 2 parents, 2 children, let's just say. So you can cut that down in half. So you can take that 330 million, you can make that what, 175, 160 million, let's just say. So now you take the let's just round it up. We'll just call it 50 billion because you sent tons of arms and all sorts of other shit over there. So let's just call it 50 billion. You take the 50 billion and you divide it by 160 million. And that's how much each one of us has paid. Right? But here's the thing with that, and this is what a lot of people don't understand. Okay, it's not only the $50 billion you paid, you gave $50 billion away. Well, now you have to get another $50 billion back to make up for that money that you gave away. So really what you did was you gave away $100 billion to be at zero. A lot of people won't see it that way, but That's the way it is. So now, really, we have to take $100 billion and divide it by 160 million people. And that's how much you've paid. In theory. Or we could spin it another way with numbers. We could add interest and all that other shit. But the simple fact is you have destroyed much more than just $100 billion that you've given away. You've destroyed energy, gas, food, how many sanctions, how many lives, how many people still. Imagine how many farmers now. You think about the vets that kill themselves. Well, let's talk about the farmers that fucking commit suicide. Should we get into that? And now you want to run the automated shit? You think the automated thing with the GPS and the tractors driving themselves is a new thing? No, that's not just like a new thing this last year. This has been going on for a while. They had this shit out in the works 3-4 years ago. I don't know him, but I knew a guy that was a big John Deere rep. And he was talking about the fucking GPS controlled tractors 3-4 years ago. How many years do you think it taught him that it got them to, how many years do you think it took them to get to the point to where they had that GPS thing? If that was already out 3-4 years ago. Probably another at least 3-4 years before that. Yeah, probably, if not longer. Yeah, if not longer. It's timing. What all this is about right now is timing. And that's a big thing with the Robert J. Lifton and the criteria to thought reform and how you do the certain aspects of that. You control the information, you control the law, you bring about the shaming, the punishment, all that stuff. It's all timing. There's a lot of psychology into it. There's a lot of money spent into it to pull these things off. But if you pay attention and you watch this stuff, it's really not hard once you start seeing it. You just got to pay attention to it kind of daily. It becomes part of your routine. And once it's part of your routine, fuck, it's hard to break habits. Yeah, I think so too right now. I really do. I think so too. I think that's a bad move though. I think that's a really bad move. Pinball. I don't know if you ever watch him. He's an older vet. Sorry. He's good shit. He has a very solid perspective on what's going on and the reality of shit. I think there's a lot he doesn't say that he may know, that he can't say, but what he brings to the table, I like him. He's very consistent. Him and Poplar are pretty consistent. There's other people that I pay attention to, but there's very few. I've dwindled down who I watch on YouTube quite a bit, because I've learned enough. And then when you learn enough, you get to the point you're like, I don't need to know any more about this shit going on. What are we going to do about it? And I'm well past that. What are we going to do about it stage? And that's why I'm standing out again for the second time in my community, in hopes that maybe something. It's probably not going to be anything I do. It'll be some stupid fucking catastrophic thing, whether it be a nuke or the stupid election thing and fucking, people starting civil war over on the East Coast. Who knows what the fuck is going to cause it? But something's going to happen to where it snaps everybody kind of out of it, and a good majority of them will be like, oh fuck, really? Okay. So it's gonna be like what do you the day after Thanksgiving, right? What do they call that? Fucking Black Friday sales, where everybody stampedes into the fucking store and kills each other to buy a pair of Nike shoes. Now what it is, Black Friday. Beat each other up for some fucking TVs. It's gonna be like that. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't see. You know, it's been slowly chipped away and slowly chipped away. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, you chip it away, and then you get to the point. It's like a Jenga game. You pull that one last little fucking thing, and it all comes crashing down. But everything stayed stable, right? Up until that one last little puzzle piece. And people aren't seeing the puzzle pieces being pulled out. I don't know. See, that's the thing. This midterm thing. I think it's going to be something after. I don't see why they would want to do something before then. If anything's going to happen before then, it's going to be a natural catastrophe thing, like a big, huge earthquake. Like if you've been watching the earthquakes, you'll see. I mean, just in the last like 6 months, there's been a huge increase in earthquakes. But I've been watching this shit for earthquakes for 11, 12 years, some stupid shit like that. Since Fukushima. So yeah, 11 going on 12 years now. Almost daily, not daily, but almost. And yeah, I've seen the patterns. I've seen what's coming out of Yellowstone with the frequencies, and I see the frequencies in the sky, and I know about the different machines that they have and shit that they can do. I mean, what the fuck, you know? But here's the thing with it, and this is what I have a hard time with too. Is people are like, hey, what can we do about it? Well, first of all, we can get our community together. But really, what can we do about the spraying in the sky, and what can we do about the HAARP and all that other stuff? Yeah, that's what can we do about that? That's a very good question, and I don't know how to go about that, and that's why we need the vets. That's why we need the active servicemen to start paying attention and realizing that they're not any better off than we are. In fact, they might be worse off, because if they decide, all right, I've had enough of this shit. Mud flood, I've heard about that. Yeah, I've heard about the mud flood theory. That's a very interesting, and yeah, that's another thing too. How long ago was it when they were doing the Balkan thing, and they popped a hole out there in the Balkan, and they actually hit ocean water. They hit the bottom of the fucking yeah. How far down did they go to cause salt water to come spewing out of the ground, out of the crust, and it went for thousands of feet, in all directions till they capped it off. So how far down did they drill? The continents, the floating. Are they floating? Do we actually have a hollow Earth? What is all that stuff? Why can't they broadcast live footage above a certain latitude? Um, there's lots of questions that we need answers for that we'll probably never get. But you look at here's what I've noticed. You start looking at satellite images, okay? I don't think the whole Pangea breakup quite is like what they show us. I think it's a little different. I think no, and I don't know if we'll ever get those answers ourselves. If they destroy their computer systems and their files and whatnot, if we try to go in and get them, then we'll never get those answers. So basically, we start over at scratch again. So that's where it comes in technique. How do we go about this? How do we do it in a way to where we can preserve as much information and knowledge, so that way when we do take all this shit to trial, and we do start convicting people and pulling out information and whatnot, we have as much of that preserved as possible. But what's to say we're even going to have that opportunity with what's going on with climate change, which is a fucking joke. Yes, climate changes. It changes all the time. Climate depends on where you are. Climate could be in your environment. It could be your classroom. It could be your work. It could be your car. It's such an obscure fucking terminology. that it's insulting to people of intelligence, really. But the people that, I'm not saying are not intelligent, but the people that aren't paying attention and see the lingo and all that shit, they soak it right up. Yeah, a lot of people have been pointing that out lately. I do remember that. Yep. And yeah, you got seasons within seasons, I think. Um, we're float. My opinion is, I don't think we're like just dangling from some strings under a fucking spotlight of Geppetto. You know what I mean? I do. I think there are galaxies. I think there are universes. I think there's multiple universes. I think there's kind of like the movie The One, in a way. Um, and as we're fucking just rolling through time and space, just flailing all about, that we do have those seasons within seasons where you have an ice age. Okay, so you have an ice age. So you have yeah, it is all BS one way or another. And that's why you have to do all this research and filter out the BS for yourself and figure out what you believe in, what you believe to be the truth. And so you have to have that open mind. You have to be able to look at the left and the right and decide what is the middle for yourself, and be able to accept other people's viewpoints, because somebody might have a viewpoint that you didn't see when you were trying to decide for yourself. But we have winter, we have spring, we have summer, and we have fall. Okay, every 365 days, 365 and a quarter days, whatever they want to tell us. So now, what's not to say that we have those greater cycles, like you say, the ice age. Okay, so now we have an ice age, which is winter. So now we have a wet period, flooding, which is spring, and then we have drought, which is summer, and then we have fall, which is fall's one of the best times, because but see, here's the thing with fall though too, is you're dealing with rain also. So now you have it getting colder, and you have rain getting ready to freeze, right? So what is that best time? That best time is the transition from spring into summer and from summer into fall. You don't deal with that rain. You don't deal with that cold. But we're obviously in a different type of transition. One thing I've heard lately is a lot of the water disappearing in different places. So what is that? Is that the water soaking into the ground? And that's what I was trying to get to with the continent thing, and the spout coming out in North Dakota. Is that okay? Some of the theory is our continents are floating, right? You have the inner Earth theory, where journey to the center of the Earth, and that's some of the theory why they don't allow live filming above the latitudes. But if you look at satellite images, you can see how Pangea everything was gathered around Antarctica. In a sense, well, everything was gathered around itself. But if you look at Antarctica, you can see how everything broke apart from Antarctica, in a way. And what you have, more or less, is you have stretch marks. If you look at the Google Maps or earthquake stuff, you can see stretch marks, like a pregnant lady's belly, when women get stretch marks, or people get too fat and they get stretch marks, or muscle builders get too big and they get too big too fast and they get stretch marks around their pecs and shoulders area, or wherever else. Okay, you see that in the crust, in the satellite images. Stupid fucking updates. Forced updates on your phones. That's bullshit. Things fucking paid off. They shouldn't be forcing updates on my phone. But yeah, you look at the planet and you look at the stretch marks and stuff. So if things used to be ice a lot, well, the water's going to recede, because it's going to all come together and ice up, right? And as it melts, then the water level goes up. Well, if we're coming into an ice age, and Antarctica has actually gotten bigger this year, Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, because if so that would they yes, that would make perfect sense, right? Because you look and that would make sense, about 2,000 feet down. I would think it would be a little bit farther down than 2,000 foot. 2,000 foot really isn't much. It's only like half a mile. 2,000 foot, because what's a mile, like 52 or something, I think. Um, I, I would believe maybe more 20,000 feet. Um, then you would hit water, because there's some people that drill their wells pretty far. I don't know if they go 2,000 feet. But your oil and stuff, look how far down they drill. And it might depend. Um, but I would think you would be more closer to where, if your continents are actually floating, you would be more closer to where you hit that seawater, because then you get that, that separation. Your seawater is going to be heavier, right? So I would think your fresh water would be floating right above that, so you would be somewhere close. But yeah, China's government is, yeah. Oh fuck, are you kidding me? That is not good. Holy shit. Well, I did my live stream today, and I could see where they were just starting to bring in the weather mod, and then by the time they got here tonight, it wasn't complete whiteout, but they brought it in, and it was obvious. You could see the trails and crisscrosses and tic tac toes and shit. Um, yeah, they wanted to control. They do the thing where they control the weather by 2025, and then when they did the Olympics thing, they fucked that up with their weather mod. That was what, like 4 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. And I understand why people don't pay attention to the weather mod thing. I mean, it's in U.S. codes. Here in Montana, we had a thing. 2000, if you look it up, 2019 Montana HJ040 is what it is. It was a House Judiciary bill where they wanted to have a study done on weather mod here in Montana. Holy fuck. Wow. That's just, yeah, cloud seeding. Prevent. I don't know, how are you going to prevent natural disasters? That shit's going to get out of control, is what's going to wind up happening. Um, how long ago did they do the aluminum resistant GMO seeds here in the United States? Um, so they did that, right? And farmers got in trouble because the modified seeds were blowing onto their land and then growing, and then the Roundup and whoever else. Um, People didn't connect those two with the aluminum and the barium and the black carbon and all that other shit that they fucking spray in the sky. They introduced the black carbon. What would that have been? At least here. I want to say maybe 4 years ago, somewhere in there, is when I started noticing the shadow trails. I think that's when they started doing the black carbon. And I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out if it was a reflection coming back or if it was actually, because it's weird. It looks like a reflection, a shadow reflection, which I still don't quite grasp the concept of it, even though I see it. And I think that's kind of what it is. You have your different layers in the atmosphere that they spray at and that they can control and thin out like a whoopee, like a blanket. They can spread that shit, right? So if you have different layers, now you have a plane come flying through one layer and it lays down the trail and you spray it back, I could see how maybe the next layer above would maybe block that and cause that black shadow to cast back up at a different angle, because it's like a reflection, but it's black. I don't know how to explain it. But I used to go chase lightning storms and shit. So I took a lot of pictures back in the day with the 35 millimeter of the sky, and we didn't have a lot of that shit we didn't get the chemtrails prevalent every day like you see now all across the world until they really started coming in about maybe 2008, 2010, somewhere in there. um, because I didn't pay attention to for a while, and this is the thing with the psychology aspect of it is, I used to go chasing the storms, and then I quit, and I had to start working, making money, right? And so I quit chasing the storms. I quit paying attention to the sky. And then an old friend came in, and he's like, one of the biggest crimes. I was like, what's that? We're talking, and he just straight up, he said, what the biggest crime, one of the biggest crimes right now going on is? It's like, what? And he pointed up, and we had a plane flying with a contrail. And I didn't say much. I did, I knew he wasn't wrong. Um, but I felt bad because I had quit paying attention. And I didn't notice how prevalent it had become. And that's been 12 years ago, 14 years ago. And, some of us have been speaking out, half our lives, a quarter of our lives, trying to tell friends and the ones we love about this shit going on, and be open about it. And sometimes we've bitten the bullet to be quiet. And now, where things are, we can't fucking be quiet anymore, man. We can't sit back, and we can't let this shit continue to go on. That's not me. That's not my soul. That's not who I am. I don't think that's what any of us should be. I think we all have the right to speak out of what we think is wrong and what should be changed right. The problem is we need to take the time, and we don't take the time to listen to those and whatnot. Um, we're so quick to ruin a man's life over an expired license plate, but yet we will take years to prosecute him for that. And in the meantime, he can sit like he is already guilty. Yeah, it's not a world we should live in. It's not a world we should live in to where it's okay to take these gender affirming agendas and push them into our schools, push them into our zoos, push them into all our local facets of life. You want to claim you have rights by doing all these crazy things. Well, quit separating yourself. Start caring about what other people are and not what you think they should be. So many things. And I don't know, man. I don't know what we can do to make it any better, other than coming together first and talking these things over, expressing our concerns with one another, not being afraid to say, you know what, I don't fucking like you. I don't like that fucking idea. I think it's stupid. And to feel confident enough that you can say that to them, and feel confident enough that they can turn around and say, you know what, I don't like your fucking ideas either. I think you're fucking stupid. Sweet. Let's shake hands. Let's figure it out. We don't have to like each other, but we do have to live with each other. We have to send our children to the same schools. We have to see each other in the grocery store, at the gas station, or driving down the road. Doesn't mean we can't respect each other, even though we don't like each other. Doesn't mean we have to talk shit about each other on fucking Facebook or Twitter or whatever fucking media thing there is. But if you're not going to be willing to come out and talk, man to man, face to face, woman to woman, eye to eye, then you're part of the fucking problem, and things are not going to get better. And when things do break down and people freak the fuck out, when it's finally actually declared we're at war or we get bombed, and then it's okay, we're at war, people are gonna freak the fuck out. You thought the toilet paper thing was bad. Holy shit. Just wait. The guy helped today. Gave him a ride home after getting pulled over by the police. Yeah, he's in bad shape. He doesn't have a job. His wife doesn't have a job, and they're losing their fucking place in like 6 days. Yeah, and he just got fucking pulled over for expired plates. What's where does he go? What does him and his lady do? Who's gonna help them out? Who's gonna give a fuck about them? What do we do? Do we start starting our own tent cities now? At the park? Or county lines or outside of the city? And we start standing up saying, you know what? You want us? Come fucking get us. You take us away. Or better yet, you just fucking finish us off right here. Because you're treating us like fucking dogs. Worse than dogs. Dogs at least get fucking patted and petted and treats. You know, I don't want the violence. A lot of us don't want the violence. But at a certain point, you don't just keep receiving a fucking willow stick on your back and saying, one day, I'm going to stand up. One day I'm going to have enough of these beatings. I'm going to have enough of these lashes. I'm going to have enough bleeding. I don't... Sorry, I've been missing comments here. Hey, Obi. Alright, give me a second. Yeah. Yep, silver iodide, nitrogen, yeah, aluminum, and it's, yes. No, we don't have lawful governments. We don't have... Yeah. Yeah, don't forget the brown too. Oh man. Yellow, black, red, white, and brown. Yeah. That's the thing, is we wind up all bleeding the same color. We all are born alone, we die alone. Most of us probably live our entire lives feeling alone. But I really do think that, you know, I know there's a lot of people that think like me. I wouldn't have learned half of the shit that I've learned if there wasn't other people that thought like me. Where our big problem lies in right now is not how many of us really think like us. Yeah. Yep. How do you... Not that I would have, okay? Not that I would have, but let's just throw that out as a theory today, okay? What would have happened with that guy pulled over? There's him, and there's me filming, and then there's the other two officers. What sort of scenarios could have happened if him and I both would have said, you know what? No, we're not putting up with this shit. You're done. There could have been a lot of different scenarios because neither him or I had guns on. The two police officers did, and a taser. Evidently, she had a body camera. I had my phone camera. He didn't have a camera out. The other officer didn't have a camera out. The two officers were heavier weight than me and that other gentleman. He was right next to him. I was about 20-some feet away. Now, there is a 21-foot rule, but again, I did not have any weapons on me. Right? Because here's the thing. With the whole gun-free school zone safety act shit, no. Yes, that's exactly. Yep. So as long as you use it within a year, it's free, right? Well, who are you using it against? Well, the people. You only have to use it once. Sweet. We'll SWAT one house. We'll get a fucking MRAP. In the meantime of swatting that one house, we'll say we took all this gear with us to SWAT one house. So now we got all this gear, military gear. Well, who's the police force hiring a lot lately that we hear about? Returning veterans. What do we hear a lot about? PTSD. Who has that most of the time? Oh, yeah, veterans. Yeah. No, even with filming it, there were a lot of words I didn't hear when I went back and watched the video. So even with video evidence, no, that's not 100% case closed. Especially when it's us, for lack of better words, us versus them. No, the Stockholm syndrome is real though. Yeah. And with everybody, having a phone and all that, so now they take your phone because your phone has your camera, your portable computer, your portable computer that has the ability to make phone calls, has the ability to take cameras, has the ability, yes, and then they put you in a cage. After they put torture devices on you, they cuff you, throw you in the back of a fucking, who knows when the last time the piss was cleaned out of the fucking seat, but tight ass car. Yeah, it's, I don't know, the police thing, did a lot of people are, fuck the police. And then you see people, fuck the cops. I get a lot of people think they're one and the same. But with all the division and the change in words and whatnot, yeah, you gotta turn around and you gotta pay for the FOIAs and shit to get body cams. Or in some cases, you don't even get the footage. You get to come in and you get to look at the footage, but you can't record it. You can't bring your camera in to record the footage. You just get to watch it. And so now you got to remember what you saw, every little detail. And then the redacted and the edited and yeah. Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more of that, to be honest. I think you're going to see a lot more police backing off. They're going to be, it's going to get to the point where, whatever happens between here and elections and shortly after elections, it's going to be stupid. There's two sides that have bought into the whole Trump-Biden thing. People forget we've been trumped. We're biding our time while they keep putting this to us, right? A lot of people don't see that. They don't see the play on words. They don't see how, I find it funny that, Trump comes in. He's the Trump card. Literally, that's his fucking name. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have been pushing to get rid of that qualified immunity shit. Yeah. Please. I've been really trying to give them the benefit of the doubt around here. Just for the fact that because it is such a small community here. And I don't want to have big, huge issues. But at the same time, too, being that it is such a small community, they try to take advantage of that. Use that as a psychological, tactical advantage. Especially being that we have a huge... No, not anymore. Nope. Not anymore. They don't. They're and I think that's pretty evident with the video that just came out with the man Thomas. I wish I knew his last name. That just got fucking murdered by 3 fucking pieces of shit. I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah. You know, and like today, you know, who knows how that could have turned out for that guy. Yeah. You know, and then look what happened with it just came out today. Fucking I just blanked his name. Tatum, is that his name? The police officer that was fucking murdered by his own fucking compadres. So it comes out that he was actually investigating one of the other officers in his police department for sexual abuse. I think gang rape was one of the things that they said. But it was pretty obvious that when it originally came out, the article with him dying, you know, he had like 3 broken ribs, a lacerated liver, all these sorts of injuries. And it was supposed to be a training exercise thing. And, you know, a training exercise thing turns into him fucking dying, turned into a grappling thing, and now he's dead. Yeah, as I got the 3 lights on the corner. I've heard that out there in Oregon, man. You guys get that quite a bit. I think they fly the mountains. I think they fly up and down the fucking Rockies. I don't know where the bases would be. I think Denver area is a big one. The 2 times that I've seen it, so I can read this here. The 2 times that I've seen it, they were one was flying south and the other was flying north, but they were basically flying the same path, and it was parallel to the mountains, the Rockies. Nope, they're not. They're not obligated to provide. Yep, pick and choose. Yeah, yeah, and I've tried to show that lately. You know, that was a thing. They do pick and choose to an extent. You know what I mean? So when the police came to the park, they could have told them all to fuck off. I've only seen it twice. The first time was back in 2011, 2010. Right in there. It was right around the time of Fukushima. Actually, it would have been 2011 then, because Fukushima happened. I got into researching Fukushima, and then I wound up seeing that TR-3B fly over, you know, right before sunset. So, yeah, yep, it is your fucking duty. Yeah, it is your duty to keep everybody in line, and we've neglected our duty. And that's reflective in the way our politicians act, the way our Congress acts, the way We've allowed our children to be treated and manipulated in the way we've allowed us to be treated and manipulated. And it's gone on for longer than I've been alive. That has slowly been chipped away. And yeah, when I saw that TR3B the second time, or the first time, that's when I decided to get in, and I bought a camera and started to get into filming a little bit. And then I actually, shortly after that's when I created a YouTube channel called One World Life, that I'm pretty much keep as a backup for this, which, it's crazy. I had that for, I don't know, a few years, and I had like 750 people sign up to watch my videos. And then I got away from doing all that for a while. And then I started up a second channel because I started getting censoring pretty bad. And yeah, I started out doing what was it, two-wheeled wanker for a while, doing a motorcycle thing. And then I got into patterns of life. That's when I started showing different things with music and with what's going on in Yellowstone with the patterns there and how they connected to Sumatra and how they connected to Fukushima and how we're going to have a fucking huge quake coming here. I wish I knew when. I've already expected it to come, and it hasn't, but it's still those frequencies and patterns are still in Yellowstone. So, with the way the quakes are working right now, and coming up South America into Mexico, and what we're seeing with Oklahoma and all that, we're going to have a huge quake. It's going to be, in my opinion, at least a 9.5 to a 9.8. So yeah, money's definitely, we're paying our own demise. Yeah. Oh, Hitler. Um, Man, when I got into looking at Hitler and the research, there was the Bell Project, all the shit he did with the different animals, and the UFOs with Victor Schauberger. Victor Schauberger is very, how do you say it? I don't want to say an underrated like Tesla. I mean, I don't think he had the inventions and stuff that he came up with like Tesla did, but how Tesla was hidden compared to like Edison. Victor Schauberger was kind of the same thing. Oh, I bet you've seen a lot more amazing military footage than I have. Oh yeah, Mr. BB. Yeah, I like listening to some of his shit. I don't listen to him as much as I used to. I don't listen to a whole lot of people anymore about the UFO stuff, but yeah, that was a crazy ass summer when I first saw the TR3B. I saw a couple other crazy things in the sky too. Saw another UFO. Looked like a car flying in the sky doing crazy ass maneuvers. And the other one was I was sitting in my backyard, and so Columbus is like, I don't know, 30 miles away, some shit like that from us. And there was a huge, huge lightning bolt. It wasn't thunders going on, no storm going on. There were clouds, and there was a huge, huge lightning bolt. And I could tell it was, 20, 30 miles away. And then all of a sudden, our whole neighborhood flashed. It was like a mini EMP. And I went back inside to check the clocks and shit like that. Nope, they were still working. It was that quick of a flash that I didn't fucking reset the time on the clocks. So I was reading comments here again. Yeah, I think with the UFO stuff, you see a lot of shit with like Japan, with UFOs hanging around the volcanoes. I know there's up and down that whole coastline. There's lots of volcanoes around there, more so when you get up towards Washington and Oregon and shit, I believe. Not so much that we know of down south, but you have those big, huge lava fields. You know, we drove from here we went to San Bernardino, California. So we drove down through Reno and in that area, and you go through some of the lava fields down in there, and it's pretty amazing. And when you look at satellite images, you can see that path Yellowstone had taken from the ocean, and where it's settled now, right against the plate. So yeah, in my opinion, Yellowstone doesn't have anywhere else to go other than blow back out to sea. You are going to have some effect. If Yellowstone does pick up, you're going to have some effect that's going to go east. But for the most part, in my opinion, most of that shit, everything's going to go blow back out to the ocean. And that's where I think some of those, future Navy maps, what was it, Casey, was that his name? The predictionary guy that liked to prophesize certain things, that they say the Navy, they're called future Navy maps now, I think. But I don't think he's wrong in that scenario, because you look at, like the Mississippi, you up in the St. Lawrence, there's been quakes up in St. Lawrence, they're up in the northeast there, Maine, Canada area. So what's not to say that opens up more, and brings more ocean water to come in, and then that ocean water goes in the Great Lakes and then winds up flooding the Mississippi, and that's where you get that wide from that. Because where I was getting back earlier with the stretch marks, okay, with the planet, if you look at it and you start zooming in, like even on the East Coast, you can see where like the land breaks apart, it splits, and you create islands. They break away, and you look at like Japan. You can look at how you could slide Africa into South America, and then you can, you can slide that into Australia and over in China and all that. You just got to have, squish everything back together, take all the water away. Supposedly we had ice comets and shit like that brought us all the water. So the planet hadn't absorbed anything, and it hadn't soaked anything up and expanded like a sponge. And so maybe that's where we're at. Maybe that's why we see some of this thing with the water disappearing. But then again, we have to look at all the dams. There's one undammed river, and that's the Yellowstone River, coming out of Yellowstone National Park, which is like the river's like 3 miles away from where I'm at right now. And most fault lines follow rivers, right? So we have to take that into consideration when we think about what some of these natural disasters can do. Because if we look at what happened with Madrid, supposedly the water flowed backwards, and then you had huge spouts, like a fire hydrant coming out of the ground, thousands of feet away from the river. So these sort of things, I think that we have to factor that in to part of the reason why we see this destruction, this consolidation of society, of the world. I don't know. It's tough to watch go day in and day out and not say anything, and I don't understand how all these people can continue to not say anything, to just think it's going to be okay and move on. That's you've already given up, in my opinion, if that's how it's going to be. Let me go back and look at a couple of these. Sorry, the way these stupid phones work, man. Either all the comments stay on here and you miss a shitload, or the comments fade away and you don't see any of the new ones come up. Yeah, Project Bluebeam. So that's an interesting one. Because I talked to a lady. I did like not night auditing, but I did kind of like security things. So I drove from hotel to hotel and made sure all the doors were locked, and then changed out all the pool towels and shit like that late at night. And she said she'd worked for the Navy, and she actually worked on Project Bluebeam. She said there's two books. There's one that was released to the public, propaganda shit, right? And then one that's actually the actual Project Bluebeam. And she wouldn't talk about it. That's all she told me. She wouldn't fucking say anything else. I tried to get her to, and she wouldn't do anything. The silent weapons, yeah, sea destruction. Look at what the Navy did. Look how many dolphins and whales and whatnot they killed with their fucking sonar programs. Yep, pipeline. Yeah, what's not to say that wasn't a sonar thing? They don't have to send. That's the thing. A lot of people are like, oh, they sent a bomb down in the pipeline. You don't need to do that. It's just like the whole opera singer thing. You get the right frequency. Yeah, the water could be receding still from a great flood. They talk about and maybe that's part of the waves. Who knows? But they talk about so Ridgecrest. If I'm not mistaken, okay, this is what Ridgecrest in 2019 when it had the big quake there, and then they had however many hundreds of quakes for days over there in Ridgecrest. That was a big fucking warning. Okay. That was right before I actually went to San Bernardino. I was really worried about it at that time. I think that was a big energy release, is what that was. That kept that huge quake from happening. Oh, where was I going? Sorry, I just blanked with that whole fucking thing with Ridgecrest and Fukushima. Oh yeah, receding waters. Yeah, with the quake. So Ridgecrest, I believe they said Ridgecrest was an aftershock, if I remember right, from a quake that happened however many years ago. So if that's true, then what's not to say that, yeah, what we're seeing are receding waters, because look at the underground or the underwater cities and shit with the statues and stuff that are like off of Japan, and like you were saying earlier with Lake Mead having different shit and stuff too. Yeah, so a subdom, the deep underground military base, says, yeah, all the water. See, and that's another thing too. Yeah, people have talked about that, like with draining the water actually into the dams and stuff, so they have big, huge pools. But I want to go back to the dumb things here in a second, because we had, and this was in Obama, and they were talking about moving the capital from, they actually brought it up in the newspaper. They were talking about moving the capital from DC to either Omaha, Nebraska, or fucking, I believe it was Denver. Jeez. 10-year water supply. That's crazy. Data hubs in Iraq. Yeah, the data hubs are fucking huge. Yeah, and all the power and the memory and shit, the data mining that they were bitching about with the bitcoins and stuff, how much energy it was taking. You imagine how much energy these fucking data hubs that they have on all of us are taking? It's insane. But to go back to that whole the dumbs thing, okay? We seen videos of how the different truckers and shit go into the dumps, right, with their deliveries. Well, supposedly, right? There's tunnels that go from major city to major city, all in the United States, right? So, when they were talking about the whole thing with moving the capital from DC to either Omaha or Denver, I don't know if you guys remember it. I believe it was in Ohio. And then I believe there was one in, was it Nebraska? This would have been, fuck, 2011, 2012. I got a video, I believe, on it on my other channel. But there was two big 4.0 quakes, okay? They were rare, and they happened almost simultaneously to each other, okay? Now, the theory that I heard on it is that they were moving shit from Washington, D.C. to fucking Denver, right? And now you have infighting between like the CIA, the FBI, those ones, whoever it is that are trying to gain power to be more influential in this whole takeover thing within the US government. Okay, there was infighting going on. And when they were moving these documents, you had the underground tunnels. And they lit off fucking nukes on both ends, tactical nukes, to block off both ends of the tunnel. So all that information and shit, whoever was in there, they're fucking tuned. So you have to correlate that with all the humming and shit that people hear going on. We haven't heard about that for a while. Sorry, going back to comments again. Dreamland, is that what they call that? With all the database thing? I thought it was in Utah. Yeah, Utah's different. Denver Airport, yeah, Denver Airport's fucked up. So funny story in Denver Airport. Holy fuck, man. This poor lady. Um so you know how you have to go from like terminal to terminal, you take the little fucking subway train thing that they have. It was packed, man. People were fucking cramming in there like sardines, and this poor old lady, dude, she was trying to get in there, and the fucking door closed on her, literally, and she bounced back and forth like a fucking little ping pong ball, dude, until she finally squeezed in, man. I thought she was gonna get hurt real bad, dude. The door didn't give a fuck about her, dude. It just beat her up. Russian Woodpecker, they buried in the lead, and then they broke the Hollywood. What's this now? Russian Woodpecker, Denver Airport. Hollywood, yeah, Hollywood's fucked up. What's I just watched a movie where they do that with fucking Franco and um Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill. What's the other guy that did the voice for the dragon? And then didn't he do another movie or two where they're in Hollywood and the fucking Armageddon happens? Skinwalker Ranch. Um, yeah, so the Skinwalker thing. Um, that's an interesting thing too. Um, I don't know. You look at different animals in the kingdom, you know, chameleons, pufferfish, how they can change their appearance and their structures. You know, what's not to say that there's not like a subspecies or you know, whatever you call it, that actually could do that shit. You know, your reptilians that they want to call here. You know, why is it that all right. I heard the timing of the Queen. Like if you look at the times, like when her death was announced and when she was buried and all that shit, there's a lot of crazy um it's, what would you say, ritualistic shit, fucking Illuminati number type shit with that. You know how they like to do it, the 9/11 type numerical stuff with her death. Um, yeah, it's there's so many fucked up things, man. So many different connections and patterns, and you know that's a shit where you start looking at, you start seeing that stuff. That's where people are like, you're fucking crazy. You need your meds, dude. You're off your fucking Prozac or whatever it may be. Yeah, yeah, radiation. Um, you know what is radiation? That's the thing. What is radiation? Because you have radio waves. They radiate waves, right? Isn't that what radiation does? Radiate waves. So you have an energy source. Um, our whole world's electromagnetic spectrum. Um, you know, your Faraday cages, your tinfoil hats, your concrete tombs. What are the pyramids? Isn't that one of the things with the pyramids? Is that they think it was a energy thing, right? Where they pumped water into it, and the way that they were able to pump the water into it, whatnot, was able to basically create sound waves and create energy. Is my understanding. You know, when you look at the what's a guy? When did the fuck did he do it? Was it back in the 50s, 30s, whatever? The monoliths down there, and they're the world's most modern monoliths, and they're in Florida. And supposedly the guy basically worked by himself. He was an older man, but he moved these tons and tons of heavy brick by himself. He mainly worked at night, and all he was seen having was a big, huge tripod, basically, with a fucking black box hanging from it. But yet he was able to move all these huge stones and put them into place. You know, and if modern technology can't duplicate the pyramids, what the hell did they do? How the fuck did they do it? And why is that story lost? Maybe that story's not lost, it's fucking hidden, and that's the technology that they're using, and that's part of the reason why they keep fucking going to war over in the Middle East, and they keep going down to Antarctica, and it's such a big taboo thing to be there. Lots of questions I would like to know, lots of things that I don't think about until you start talking about it and going through it. Like none of this shit, I didn't plan on talking about any of this shit. Half of the shit I don't remember until we start talking about it. Radio eugenics? Fuck yeah, radio eugenics. You're damn right. What do you think the ringing in people's ear is? It's not fucking tinnitus. It's the shit they're fucking bombarding us with. You know, and then the different chemicals and stuff too, the different things we consume. You know, we have to be careful. You have to look at what it is you're buying at the store and consuming. You know, like the water flavor packets. Oh, no big deal. Well, look at it. You got the aspartame in there. That's associated with the tinnitus. But if you really, before you go to sleep at night, if you really calm yourself down and quiet your mind and you listen, not to your thoughts, but you listen to the world and what sounds there are, you will hear the frequencies that they're fucking pumping at us. You will hear 2 to 3 different frequencies and at different rates. Yeah, yeah, we're fucking analogs in a digital game. Yes, we are, and it scares them too. Yeah, I got into it's funny that you bring that up because that is a scary thing. You start looking into the electronics and how things have been broken down and controlled and how the technology has changed and improved over time. I wish I could remember what the theory is, where you have so it's like every 6 months to 18 months, depending I've talked about this before, I know, where, so like a transistor used to be, say, like this big. 6 months later it's this big, and then it's this big and this big and this big. It keeps getting smaller and smaller to the size, right? And this is where we get into the Xenobots now, just like in Stargate, the replicators, nanobots making nanobots, and supposedly they have gotten out and they're out in the world. When you look at it, when we started going from analog to digital, okay, we had the transistors, we had the capacitors, all that stuff, but then we started getting to the IC chips, the integrated chips, like your 555 timer, okay. You would have to have a lot of transistors, and you would have to know how to build the amp app styles and shit like that to make that 5.5 timer and have all the resistors and all that. Yeah. Oh, that, yeah. Yeah, that cricket sound. And then the woodpecker. I think they're still using the woodpecker. I hear that low whoomp, 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 and then you hear that yeah. Yeah, and then there's a couple of frequencies they use all at the same time. And I really figured that out because I got to a point where, like, I would just be going through my day, and then all of a sudden I would get fucking irritated and mad for no reason whatsoever. I just, out of the blue, I would be mad. My skin would like itch, and it was just like, oh, rage, complete rage. And I couldn't figure it out. We are a virus. Yep. We are a virus to them. And that was the whole thing with the COVID and all that stuff. If you go back and you listen to some of the things they said, yeah, they told us we are the virus. That's part of the whole carbon reduction thing. We're part carbon. We breathe carbon, reducing carbon. The world don't need a carbon reduction. If anything, it needs more carbon right now. Yeah, Sophia. Well, I wonder how long AI has actually been around. I think AI has remember War Games with Matthew Broderick, where what was the game he played to end nuclear war before nuclear war started with AI? Because AI hadn't learned that in the long run, any of it, you'll just wind up destroying yourself, and there's no winner. It was tic-tac-toe. Well, they changed analog. That was around the same time, 2011. There was a lot of shit that happened in 2011, 2012. There was a lot of stuff people don't talk about, or I don't know if they realize it happened and have forgotten about it. But that was a big thing. So the EAS, the Emergency Alert System, worldwide went digital at that point. You had the 2011 PacWave, where they simulated a 9.0 coming out of Kamchatka Peninsula. And that was part of the whole EAS alert system thing where they were testing it. Yeah. 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 See, the thing, you try to bury the money trails doing it that way. When you get somebody else to fund it and whatnot, and yeah, fraud funding, all this, yeah, it's disgusting, and that's why, you hear a lot of people say, don't patent your shit, don't patent it, don't patent it, don't patent it. Look at what happened with the water motor guy. You know, the Getz, was that his name? Steve Getz? Wasn't he the water motor guy? One of the first guys that really tried to make the HHO thing public and go with that. I didn't hear about that. That's the first I've heard about that. The gum tree? Yeah, that's the first I've heard about that. I really think not so much now. We've destroyed so much of the ocean, so much of the rainforest. But I was a really strong believer. All right, I'll look into that. I'd never heard of that till now. I was a really strong believer that any sort of sickness and illness that we had in the world could the cure for it could be found in the world, and of course vice versa too. You know what I mean? No, I don't think there is a natural cold anymore now. I think they've fucked with medicine so much and science. Trust the science so much. And they were telling us about this too, again, back around in 2011, 2012. Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut. I'm going to have to go back and watch that. I think about that movie every now and then, but it's just the way they did it, it's just, it gives you the fucking heebie-jeebies watching it the whole time. I don't know. It made me uncomfortable watching it. They do tell us, that's the thing. And I've talked about this before too, the whole, the dog thing. That's... I always use the dog theory. You know, you start pulling a dog's tail, the dog's gonna fucking growl at you and tell you to knock it off. And, you know, you do it again, the dog's gonna bite you. Well, you were warned, for one. And then you did it again. Yeah, the dog's gonna bite you. Right? And that's kind of, I think, where we're at right now, because we've been told, hey, I'm going to smack you in the face. And you're like, ha, okay. You're like, no, I'm going to smack you in the face. Well, okay, whatever. And then you get smacked in the face, and you're like, what the fuck? Why did you smack me in the face? You're like, dude, I told you I was going to smack you in the face, but you did nothing about it. You did nothing to protect yourself. I don't feel guilty I smacked you in the face. It's not my fault. I told you. I warned you. Oh, the Vatican thing, holy fuck, with them. People should have been questioning left and right. Why the fuck is the Vatican recalling all their money by the end of September? I've seen people say something and mention it, but no one really questioned it. I think that right there should be a big, huge tell. Let me look, see how much, I don't even know how much fucking battery I got left. 22%, okay. That should, right there should have been a huge tell. Yeah, all roads lead to Rome. Yeah. Rome wasn't built in a day, but we just fucking tear it down in a day. Yep, military. Yeah, a lot of things go back to the Vatican. Who has the biggest fucking repository of knowledge and hidden fucking information and artifacts? Vatican. What do they have, like 3 miles of fucking underground library? Isn't it something like that? It's insane. And the public will never see that. Never really know. I think people need to get back to nature as much as possible. I think we're poisoning ourselves with a lot of this technology, and we've lost. We are at a breaking point where if a good percentage of us don't get back to nature and understand how to live with nature and let nature take care of us, we are fucked. We are at the mercy of those that are bringing us this misery and doing all this shit. Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen iPet Goat 2. He's exactly right. Yeah. I'll watch. The people get irritated with me because I'll listen to a song a bunch of times. I'll watch a movie a bunch of times, and it seems like every time I do that, I see something new. I see something different. And if you look at, I think iPet Go 2 is a great example of that. Um, it is a little creepy to watch it, but there are so many things that are going on in that background, and even in the foreground right in front of your face, that even watching it 10 times, I don't think you would see everything and gather everything that they're saying in it. And to make something like that, even with these movies, you're like, why would it cost that much to make such a movie so simple? It is because of all the different shit that they put in it, the amount of time that they put in those innuendos and those subliminal shit. Look at some of the things where that people have said and shown us where they've gone back into old movies and they've thrown in fucking contrails into old movies, right? And then re-release them, the gold edition or the remastered edition, right? Yeah, remastered. Okay, what did you change? What's so different? And maybe that's where some of the people get caught up in the Mandela effect. I never got hooked into the Mandela effect. I've never had anything change in front of me. But if we want to start talking Mandela effect, then we got to take into the theory of landscape amnesia. Yeah, yeah, gaming. Um, Games, I got out of gaming. I've been out of gaming for a long time. I used to play like all the fucking time. So the Pope and his cock. So I don't pay much attention to like the Pope and what all the people underneath are called and whatnot. Um, the sisterhood. I think I remember hearing something about that. I thought that was odd. Yeah, there's. And I think part of the reason I stay away from the whole Vatican and the Pope and all that stuff is because I know it's such a deep rabbit hole that it's something I don't want to go down. Not right now. Because I would get too wrapped up in it. Yeah. So I try to stay away from some of that stuff right now. I try to stay with, I think with what I'm trying to do right now, I try to stay with more of what's obvious, that, no matter what intellectual level you're on, you can kind of see what it is I'm doing. You may not fully understand it, but that's a problem with having an open mind and trying to learn all this and then turn around and relay it to people. How do you go about it? How do you say these things? What do you approach them with first? What do you talk about first? Because if you dive right into the bottom of the rabbit hole, holy fuck, man, you might as well rattle your snake tail as loud as you can. You know what I mean? I don't know how to say it else right now, but you have to basically, in a sense, you have to break people down little by little. Oh, 3D warfare. So yeah, that was the next thing I was going to talk about too, is the meta thing and the Yeah, they're Cambria, is that what they're calling that now? Um, wow. See, that was a thing too. So I remember, yeah, they're talking about I noticed they started pushing that whole virtual reality thing. And when I went to college, my first year, that would have been back in 97. And this was in Kansas, the little shit fucking town, man. They had a virtual reality thing there at the mall. So the mall had a couple stores closed down. You know, stores go in and out every now and then. Um, yeah, AR, and yeah, the 3D thing's going to be different. I think that's like a little tiny step in stone. Doing the VR stuff. Um, but we had that virtual reality where they were pushing it back in 97. And right before that, so at the mall, we had a video game store. And it looked like R2D2, but it was a holograph or a hologram. Kind of like the whole thing they were pushing with Tupac at the concert thing. But this was back in, 95, 96. They had a hologram that they were doing it. And that was cool as shit. That was one of the coolest games I played. It was a slow reaction time, but that was one of the coolest games I've ever fucking played. Because it was. You could look around it and here it is. You wanted to poke it and touch it, but it was all coming. So like I said, it was an R2D2 sort of game. So, you had half of the game surface was being used to project your video. But yeah, it was kind of like what you see in some of the futuristic movies, where they sit down at the table and then you have your little waitress pop up, or you're on your phone and you have a little hologram pop up. It was just like that. Yeah, you have all these incremental steps. Stop, how are you, sir? Let me get you out of there. All right, I think you're good now. You, we're just kind of talking about a little bit of everything, man. As we go, I didn't have any topics in particular. Just kind of we're bullshitting. I'm going off on rants, and then I'm looking back at comments, and when I see something, I go from there. So, yeah, nothing in particular. I'm bored, man. you know, and talking it out, figuring out our differences, figuring out shit we know about each other, and hopefully how to fix some of these fucking issues, man, because we can't keep ignoring them, you know. Let me go back here, man. My eyes are tired, so I'm having a hard time picking this shit up. Yeah, the facial recognition. A lot of people think that doing the masks and stuff was so AI could pick up on eyes and stuff better. I still think the masks were a mark. I think the mask was a big mark of who was going to comply and who wasn't going to comply throughout all this, and how hard they should push it. Virtually everybody wore a mask, so let's fucking move on with the game. And that's what they did. And then pretty soon came fucking vaccine mandates. Movie with Tom Cruise. Which one? There was Minority Report. Where were we at here with the facial recognition? Minority Report was one. Trying to think if there was another one with him with facial recognition stuff. The only other one I can think about is fucking what's it called, man? The one where they go to Mars, Quaid, and I can't even think of the name of that one now. And they did the remake of it. Is it Minority Report? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and have you seen some of the new scanners that they're using now? That they're putting into some of the football stuff? The Accountant. I know I've seen it, but I don't remember all of that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that one. I know that's a good one. But yeah, all the scanners they're putting in now, it's not like the scanners that you normally think of. I mean, you just a bunch of people walk through there, and the next thing you know, hey, beep beep beep, it looks like this person could possibly have a weapon. And with the scanners are bad shit, man. There's going to be a lot of fucking cancer popping up here soon, within our lifetime and with our children's lifetime, if we don't put a kibosh on all these fucking scanners. Total Recall, that's what I was thinking of. Damn it. Yeah, I like the second one. They actually did a good job on that remake. But yeah, the first one with the facial, yeah. The scanners is a big, huge thing of concern for me, especially now that we're doing the self-checkout bullshit that they want to keep pushing. First of all, I hate using the self-checkout. I think the people that use the self-checkout, they're complicit in getting other people fired and losing their jobs. But now, I know they were using it out in Seattle, and they're promoting it a lot down in Mexico and in Texas, where you just push your cart through a scanner. You don't have to take fucking anything out, and it scans everything in your cart, knows everything that's in there. That's a little scary. Because one, what kind of technology you have to know everything that's in there, even though I've got shit piled and stacked around each other. So is that all RFID? Or do you have some type of crazy ass 3D X-ray fucking scan? And what's that going to do to my body? Especially if I'm going in there once a week. Because now they're going to look down upon you if they start rationing here soon. All these people that stock up a month or two at a time because they live out in the country, what the fuck are they going to do? Now they're going to have to spend more time and more money to come in every single day, to come in and or every week to get food. And we're going to throw scanners in schools to keep our children safe. But yeah, at the same time, we're going to be making them sick. I wonder if these people even know they're causing destruction. Some of them, we go back to that Stockholm syndrome shit. You've gotten to the point to where you'll do anything to help your oppressor, including kill yourself. If you sell to her girl, just write the president wearing a mask. If I even had any money, I'm pretty much broke at this point. I got coins and that's it. What? You cannot collect twigs? Can you even start a little fucking campfire? Yeah, YouTube's fucking terrible with comments. Their comments are fucking horrible anymore. They've gotten to the point where they will blatantly fucking censor you on even live streams. You're watching somebody's live stream and you make a comment, yeah, they've been after me for a while, keeping me in the dark. Oh, Mars. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. That's awesome that you bring that up. I just remember this story now. So when I listened to Art Bell for a little while, some of his like old replays, and it was around the time where I got into the alien and then time travel and a lot of that different stuff. Well, supposedly there was a big, what do they call it now? The Space Force now. So supposedly that's been around for a really long time. And Mars, supposedly started, Mars had a big, huge war, right? Well, then you had the arachnids or whatever over there, and they're still hanging out. They still live underground there. And we've had actually crews like the moon bases and shit. They deploy crews from the moon. And some of them would go actually over to fucking Mars. And there's a couple crews that got wiped out, supposedly. They went into one of the caves to get some, I guess, like historical evidence and different shit like that. Well, it wound up being a bad thing. And yeah, I just thought it was interesting because you get into the dark side of the moon and all that stuff with it. Sorry, going back over comments again, man. Yeah, there's so I don't know if any of you have ever seen the big armada in the sky at night. There's Elon Musk's stupid little thing. I saw that here a while ago for the first time. That's disgusting as fuck. 20 some satellites all right behind each other in a big line. But this is different. This is like Chronicles of Riddick. If you've ever seen that movie, when the armadas flying, it's like that in the fucking night sky. There's, I don't know how many big, huge motherships. There's big scouts. There's the fucking armada flying behind them. And when I saw that, I've only seen it one time. Yeah, that thing. If that thing ever decides to, if it's not friendly, we're in some serious shit, because that armada was fucking insane. I watched it for probably a good 5 to 10 minutes fly past in the night sky, and hundreds of them. So whatever's going on, there's a lot of really behind the scenes shit that we'll never fucking know about, and when it does go down, people are gonna freak the fuck out. If the TR-3Bs and any of these other alien ships start flying around, people are gonna freak the fuck out. You're gonna see people just running around like crazy, not knowing what to do, just panicking, and dealing with the food thing, and who knows? Who knows what kind of fucking chaos? Hopefully none. Hopefully none of it comes about. But what I've seen flying in the sky and what I see going on now, yeah, people will freak the fuck out. And it's nothing I want to deal with. If it's anything like what I've seen in my dreams and visions and shit like that, no, I don't want anything to do with it. That's interesting. The Kennedy thing, with the assassination. Yeah, with what's going on with Russia right now, there's a lot of change going on with Russia right now. And with what happened with Kennedy, so I went down there. You used to play Legion baseball, and we'd take a trip every summer. We went down to College World Series one time. We went down to Dallas one time, and we actually went to the grassy knoll down there. And I'll tell you what, I don't know why Kennedy agreed to do that, to make that drive. I don't know if Kennedy had ever been there before and knew the layout, but he got fucking set up big time, and he was no saint. With him in Maryland and him and his brother, what they would go around and do. No, Kennedy was no saint, but I don't think he was overall evil. and there's different discrepancies as to what he was going to be revealing, and that's why he was assassinated. And seeing the video and stuff, I honestly wonder if Jackie didn't have something to do with. I wonder if Jackie didn't have something to do with pulling the fucking trigger. Because I've watched the video more than a few times, and her actions, um, they seem a little suspicious. No, she was. She fucking broke down mentally afterwards. And I wonder if some of that didn't have to do with her guilt, or just the fact that she was so fucking naive. I think that's what a lot of the COVID shit was about. I think that's what a lot of the tests were about, and why they continue to do that is because of what certain people have in their blood. Look what's still going on in China. Now they're bringing out the machine guns at airports. And the motherfuckers went around, they were testing fish, they were testing chicken, they were testing everything, man. They were doing it in all the countries, testing fucking papayas, and papayas were testing positive. See, here's the thing. I don't doubt she was in a cult. As far as I know, the Kennedy's dad, he was pretty much a fucking schmuck. He was, I'm not sure the very sexist as far as fuck anything that walks and treat them like shit, and sons, you're going to do the same thing. That's the type of father that they had, and now you get the guy running the fucking United States. So who knows what sort of shady shit that they were into, and what he was going to release. But it's all everybody's pawns and propaganda and all that shit. I've heard about the Federation stuff. It's been a while, so you don't think I'm ignoring the Federation stuff. But it's been quite a while since I've looked into that and stuff. I've kind of gotten away from the UFO stuff a little bit, because I know that I think after we deal with this climate shit and they start locking us down, and everybody starts getting fucking stupid, and the food and all that, that's when they're going to try to do the whole, the fake alien bullshit that everybody thinks is coming. Which I don't necessarily think the fake alien shit is going to be fake alien shit. I think you're going to want to see a real sort of deal there, because they've played us for so long that a lot of us that do see shit going on, we automatically assume it's fake. Just like the COVID thing, it's bullshit. We knew it was bullshit when they started it and they implemented it, and we know it's bullshit now, and it still is bullshit. But there's a lot of people that don't get it. A lot of people that are still buying into it. So they're buying into the climate thing. They're buying into this and that. And here's the thing, they don't have to complete each step 100%. They only have to get so much of it done. You only have to have so much of the population comply and do. Once you get that, well, then that huge percentage forces the other people to comply, basically. They're kind of like with how they bypassed the rest of people for wearing a mask. They knew they couldn't arrest people for not wearing a mask. So what they did was they put it upon the private to say, hey, you're not wearing a mask. We don't want you here. You're trespassed. It's all that subversion technique and bullshit. And, I wish I knew what was going to happen next, how much time we had, but I really think a lot of us feel the same, and we're feeling that tightening of the noose, limited time to actually do anything to make a difference, because it is going to get to a point, if people don't start being people and listening to each other and shit, then It is going to get to a point you're going to see YouTube get quiet. You're going to see Rumble, Twitter, all these other social media, Facebook. You're going to see it get quiet. You're going to get a lot of people that are going to be like, you know what? Fuck you all. I ain't got time for this shit. I gotta do what I can to get my shit ready. Because, in my opinion, we are at war. We've been at war for a long time. But you can't tell the people you're at war. Otherwise, people are going to freak out here in America. You can't tell them you're at war in your own homeland. Not until that bomb drops. Not until the towers fall. And even then, you're still going to get a lot of people. And after seeing the military over years and years and years, I've seen the National Guard change. And now they slowly bring stuff in and slowly change it, and slowly that. I wish my lady would have been okay with all this. If she was, you wouldn't be seeing the fucking ceiling of my garage right now. You may not see me standing down at the park. If she would have been okay with all this stuff, because I probably would have been okay with, all right, if she's okay, then we'll just keep prepping and we'll do what we can and we'll make our own little community. But when so many turn all of us away and mock us and put us down and then try to say, oh, we want the best for you. No, you don't. You want us to be quiet. You don't want us to say anything. You are too worried about repercussions or what people are going to think. Fuck what people fucking think at this point. It doesn't matter what you fucking think. The deal is you're being fucking twats. We all need to wake up and start talking about shit. And if you're not going to be part of the fucking solution, you are part of the problem. You didn't give us much of a choice. You didn't want to fight against the lack of choices we were given in the last 2-3 years. So at a certain point, I'm sorry, but you're on your fucking own. You had your chance to learn. You had your chance to speak. You had your chance to listen, but you didn't. They told us they were going to slap us in the face. They're fucking punching us right now in the face, in the gut. And a lot of people are like, oh, now let's just wait for elections. So, it's like I hear people, yeah, we'll turn everything red this November, and then come 2024, yeah, we'll get Trump back and we'll get the shit straightened out. Do you realize it's another 2 fucking years before the next presidential election? And then to get anything turned around and straightened out, you're probably looking at another 2 fucking years. We're looking 4 years down the fucking road before anything gets fucking straightened out. And that's because of people relying on somebody that's already trumped you once, and now you want them to trump you again. The fucking canaries in the cage, and there's not very many canaries. So to sit and think, oh, yeah, we'll straighten a lot of things up this November, and then we'll straighten it around in 2024. No, we're not. We'll wait. I'll be patient enough. I'll wait and see what happens in November. I don't want to. I think it's fucking stupid. I think people should know by now that ain't nothing gonna fucking change come November. Other than more division and more hatred. And who knows what the fuck's gonna happen. No matter what side gets what. But it's not a presidential election. And the presidential election, people should realize by now, is very questionable. So it's fuck the politicians. I don't care. They've done nothing for any of us. If anything, they've only continued to separate and continue to divide and continue to destroy. Meanwhile, they get paid big bucks for not doing much. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we can straighten all this out unless we all get together and talk and come through our differences as much as we can, which you look at some of the behaviors and from different people in different cities, yeah, there's no talking with some of these people. So have we gotten past that point of no return? What's fuck, they only did one season. Was it Revolt? What was that called? Where the power went out across the whole world at the same time. And then everybody basically went back to the Stone Age. And then you had the two guys, they were like brothers almost. They served in the military together. And then the one guy went around all over the country trying to like stay out of shit. And then he wound up meeting up with family. And then his best buddy was wound up taking over an army and basically created like his own military, kind of like in Postman. I think it was called Reboot. Right? Yeah, I don't see how people expect to, and I don't even care about going back to normal the way it was before, because that was shit too. But I really don't see how people think they're going to have any sort of comfortable life and existence with the way things are going right now. Without getting together and figuring out some sort of plan, whether it's with your family or with your neighbors or whatever, and discussing worst case possible scenarios. Which of course right now is a nuke fucking dropping and just total chaos and anarchy. I'm talking fucking the movie The Road sort of shit. Or Book of Eli sort of shit. Because that's what we're looking at coming. Or some of these different type of zombie shows where you have a lot of majority running around and you have different strongholds. But the longer we wait, the more and more people that are going to be on their own, and the more of a problem that's going to be for everybody. What do I got? I got fucking 5% left on my phone, so I'm about to die here real soon. But yeah, the longer we wait, the more and more people that are going to be on their own, the more chaotic it's going to be, the more violence that's going to happen, the more struggling. I think that's, and who knows, maybe that's why we see so much of that zombie shit and so much of the apocalypse and doom and gloom, is because even the governments know that no matter what they do, even if they try to hold the peace out and whatnot, that there's still going to be that destruction and disarray, that no matter what, they can't stop it. The best thing they can try to do is to keep the peace as long as possible and mitigate what comes afterwards. I don't know. These are things that, if we really had people that gave a fuck, we would know answers to some of this shit. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to get those answers. I don't think people want to push hard enough to find those answers. And I guess I'm fortunate enough that, I've learned enough and I've been able to see what's going on, that I've been able to, I guess, prepare, and hoard enough shit to where right now I feel comfortable enough that, you know what, fuck it. Having a job and pretending this stuff's gonna get better is not gonna fix anything. It's only gonna make it worse. And so I feel I have enough that, you know what, fuck it. If things are gonna get bad this winter, sweet, I've got enough to get me through winter. And hopefully by that time, maybe enough people will realize what's going on and we can work it out to where we can all make it and grow a shitload of food. And come next fucking fall, you know, we'll see what that brings. But right now, I don't know. Can't bring myself to pretend anymore.